Welcome into Birds Huddle, powered by PointsBet, alongside Barrett Brooks. I'm Taryn Hatcher. Heading into Father's Day weekend, Barrett, what kind of gifts are you expecting as a papa?
You know what? You say Father's Day. Father's Day is different from Mother's Day. We usually don't get gifts. No, I mean, I don't count socks and ties as gifts. My gift is I'm putting a motor in my daughter's car. I was going to put a motor in my son's car, but he was ungrateful. I mean, he's going to tell me he's going to do something instead of help me put his motor in his car. So, all right, yeah, you handle what you got to handle. You and your boys, you put the motor in the car. I'm going to help my daughter put a motor in her car. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, Barrett, we gave you, for Father's Day as a gift, this platform to absolutely torch your son on regional television.
Yes,
so there
I made it happen.
All right, it's time now for the 3-point stance. Barrett's stance on 3 items of the day. Number 1, a nice gift for the Eagles. Jaquiski Tartt is a rock-solid addition. The team announced just a short time ago that they agreed to a 1-year deal for the former 49ers safety. Your instant reaction?
You know, just sliding in on Friday, sliding on Friday before Father's Day. I think it's a great deal. I mean, I don't know how Howie Roseman does this, but he's brought one of the, this guy's a pretty good guy. During his tenure being in the league, he's been a starter. He's played consistently. In fact, I remember him actually for not, doing something good. I remember him from not making that interception against the Rams in the championship game, which kind of kicked them out of the game and made the Rams, eventually Super Bowl champions. They were right. They had him on the ropes. They were supposed to beat that team, but he dropped a crucial interception in the 4th, and he kind of took it upon himself and said, hey, it was my fault. I should have picked it off. It should have been my ball. I could have ended this game. I didn't do it. So I like the fact he stood up for himself and said, hey, I'm the one that made this team lose. But hey, at the end of the day, the guy has some skills. But I'm gonna say this. It's not like he's just gonna come in and take the position. Marcus Epps is right there. And I think Marcus Epps might be up there with Harris as far as one of the better safeties on this team. I mean, he might be the best safety on this team. He's working it out. He's getting better. This kid is going to be pretty good at that safety spot.
Okay, so it's interesting because he's made 64 starts in his career. He made 14 last year. To everything you just mentioned with the depth around him,
right.
How does it shake out at the safety position?
Well, you know what? I mean, at least they have a lot of competition, and that's what you want, competition at the position. But I like Marcus Epps. Like I said, I think he is our best safety right now. Now, Harris is good. I'm not going to take it from him. But we're talking about an ascending player. Right now, Harris is staying where he is. He's, I've seen his better days. But I'm telling you this, Epps is only going to get higher. Now, Tartt is a good player also. Very consistent, very athletic, knows where he's supposed to be at. He's going to fill the position. I just don't know where. Maybe when they run their big nickel. Like I said, I love big nickel. That's when you run 3 safeties in there and take one of the linebackers out. I think they're complete now. There's a lot of competition at that safety position, and I'm looking forward to seeing who goes out and eventually wins the position.
I love that we're talking about question marks because there's talent present, and it's about which talent you choose. We love it. All right, let's move on to number 2. Another positive. The Eagles are by far the most stable organization in the NFC East. We learned today that both the Cowboys and the Commanders will lose practice time next year for not adhering to the rules during OTAs. Oh, and by the way, both of their head coaches were fined as a result as well. But just in general, I mean, the rest of the division's a bit of a hot mess express.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. The Commanders can't get right. They're either talking too much or practicing too much. Dallas getting fined for practicing too much or too hard or wherever it is. You want stability, especially as a player. You want to know that the higher-ups, it usually goes downhill. Well, this time it's going uphill. The higher-ups are the ones getting in trouble. Only thing is, I don't like the fact we're not taking advantage of all the practices we can get. We didn't have a mandatory minicamp like all the other teams, with the exception of 1 or 2, like the Cincinnati Bengals. Didn't take advantage of all the time that they could have had to have these players here. I guess they want to make sure that they're friends with their, with their teammates, because the older players don't want that time. But that little time, those guys being together, could have helped them out a lot. But I love the stability that this organization has when it comes to their players, the coaching staff, and they're doing things the right way. Howie Roseman doing Howie Roseman things. You got a head coach that's, buddy-buddy with the players. They love them. They'll work for them. They'll go out there and execute as best as they can for them. I just want a little more practice time, but hey, I'm old school, so that's the difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's interesting, especially your perspective, because you played for perhaps the most stable organization in the sport, the Pittsburgh Steelers. How much does that steadiness from the front office on down, from ownership on down. How much does that help at a player level?
Well, you know the Steeler way. And that's the biggest thing. The Steeler way is somebody that when you get to the organization, they walk you through the ropes. You know what you have, you know what the expectations are. So you fall within those expectations, you're fine. They'll keep you around forever. They kept me around forever because I knew my role. I wasn't necessarily going to be a starter, but I was going to be on the team. I was going to help the younger guys. I was going to make sure that I didn't embarrass the organization. I go out there, I practice hard, play hard. If they needed me, I was a guy that can come in and play center, guard, and tackle. That consistency was what they were looking for. They were a consistent organization. Every Friday, they're devout Catholics. They had fish every Friday. You just knew what you're going to get from that Steelers organization. So they had to stop us from practicing so hard. The ownership, the head coach. So it's a lot different from most organizations because they really made sure that you understood what the Steeler way was. And if you didn't fall within that framework, they'll get you out of there.
So no meat on Fridays, huh?
Fish.
I kind of love that. My hometown is Italian and Irish. So that was my whole childhood as well.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move along to your final stance. Jalen Hurts will go over on passing yards and passing touchdowns. Now, we got these over-unders from PointsBet's Jay Croucher yesterday. It's 23.5 passing touchdowns and 3,450.5 passing yards. Hurts hitting that over?
What? Go with the over, baby. My initial thoughts that feels way too low. As a passer, he's going to go way over that. When you look at Jalen Hurts, he's gotten better every season. And I think this year will be no different. He had about, 3,300 yards last year. This year, he's going to probably be right around 4,000 yards. I see him put around 26, 27 touchdowns. And then the rushing yard. They say, he had about 780 last year. I think he's going to have right about the same, about 700 yards rushing also. He's going to fit within the first. Steichen is going to make sure that this kid uses all his talents to the best of his ability. He knows what he can highlight from this kid. I think they're going to run a little more play action as opposed to going out there and doing read options. It's going to make sure he's going to be put in a position that he is going to be highlighted as a player, use everything, every skill set that he has. So, yes, I want everything to be over. I'm pretty sure everything will be over.
And he also has a new tool in his belt, which is a pretty talented receiver.
Just A.J. Brown.
Who he happens to be really good friends with. So
Beaston.
You imagine maybe that helps those numbers. All right, Dave Zangaro joins us on the other side to count down the top 5 Eagles most likely to make their first Pro Bowl. Could Jalen Hurts make that list? And speaking of Eagles quarterbacks tossing TDs, only 3 Eagles QBs have thrown 24 or more touchdowns in a season more than one time. Who are they? We'll have that answer when we return. This is Birds Huddle, powered by PointsBet. Back with Birds Trivia. Before the break, we asked who were the 3 Eagles quarterbacks have thrown 24 or more touchdowns in a season at least twice. And the answer is Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, and
Mr. Wentz.
Carson Wentz. All 3 only did it twice. Wentz holds the franchise record with 33 touchdowns. That was in 2017. Then he threw 27 in 2019. McNabb did it in both 2001 and 2004. And Cunningham did it in 1988 and 1990. Another trivia question for you guys, and there's a bit of a spoiler. Who is the talented man tasked with hosting the Eagle Eye podcast alongside Ruben Frank? The answer to that question is...
you.
It's kind of a trick question because it said talented, but it's me. It's me, guys.
I got you, bro. You're good, man.
Thank you.
Good.
You're very talented.
Thank
you
you,
always
Taryn.
know the answers to the trivia questions before we put them in the prompter, Dave. All right, Dave, first, we want to get your thoughts on the Eagles' addition of free agent safety Jaquiski Tartt.
It's a good signing, and it's not like he's going to come in and just be the starter right away. I think he helps their depth, and they really needed help with their depth at that position. I still think Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris, when we get out there in July at training camp, they're still going to be running with the first team.
Yep.
They're going to work hard in, and I think it helps them with their depth, and it also helps them if they want to run some 3 safety packages. They can put him out there. He's a little bit different. He's bigger than some of those other safety. He's like 215, so Maybe he plays a little closer to the line. They kind of find a role for him there, but the more depth, the better. And that was one spot you looked at the roster and thought that they need a little bit more there.
Yeah, you got to find somebody out there that fulfill that big safety type of guy. So yeah.
So overall, you'd say Tartt was a pretty sweet pickup.
There you go.
Dad jokes. It's Father's Day coming up. Come on. All right, we're gonna move on. We've been doing top 5 countdowns all week long, and we're going to round things out today with the top 5 Eagles who have the best chance to make their first Pro Bowl. And let's kick things off with number 5, Jalen Hurts. Barrett, your thoughts?
Yes, I think Jalen Hurts has a great possibility to make the playoff. And it's not just because I'm saying he's a top 5 quarterback. I'm definitely not saying that. What I am saying is Jalen Hurts will go out there. His name will be called a lot because they're going to be doing a lot of winning. And plus, you got older guys that just don't go to the Pro Bowl. Brady's not going to the Pro Bowl. Guys like that. I mean, A-Rod is not going to the Pro Bowl. So, he has an opportunity if he's one of the top 5 as far as, record. He may have an opportunity to go to the Pro Bowl.
Dave, what'll it take?
Well, I don't necessarily love his chances, but I see what you're saying there, Barrett. And also, typically the teams with the best quarterbacks are going pretty far.
That too.
Well, another one might be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Look, I don't love his chances. It's not out of the question, though.
Okay.
He was an alternate last year also.
He was an alternate. Yeah, there are levels to the alternates.
Also, we're at on the count for today. We're at 2. It's a great Friday, guys. All right, let's move on to number 4, and we're looking at Miles Sanders. Dave,
if he stays on the field, that's the
availability
hurdle.
Is the best ability.
That's the hurdle for him. He's missed 9 games in the last 2 years. When he's on the field, there are a few players better. His yards per carry average is second in the NFL over the last 2 years, behind just Nick Chubb. I mean, he's a really good player when he's out there. He's just got to stay out there. And I'm not even worried about the fact that they're probably going to be a little more pass heavy than they ended up being last year, because I still think he'll get his, but he's got to stay on the field.
Yeah, best ability is availability. Mm-hmm. He's got to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he's one of the most dynamic runners in the league. He's explosive. He has a chance to take it to the house every time he touches the ball. With that offensive line, he could be a really, really good asset for this team if he stays on the field. He
can make himself a lot of money, too, because he's about to be a free agent.
That's another thing.
I was about to say, health is wealth, quite literally, in this particular situation. Moving on to number 3. We hate to talk about Dallas in a positive light unless we're talking about Dallas Goddard. Dave, your thoughts on his chances to make it to the Pro Bowl?
Great chances. He's already an elite tight end. And you can look at the numbers and not see it. The numbers are there. He was on a 1,000-yard pace after the Zach Ertz trade. And I think he can do that for a year consistently. And now people know about Dallas Goddard. So that blocking ability that maybe didn't matter to Pro Bowl voters earlier in his career, it's going to matter now that he's clearly the top guy. When you're looking at all-around tight ends, there really aren't many better than him in the NFL. There's a pretty small group. I think he's one of the 4 best tight ends in the league, along with Kelsey, George Kittle, and Mark Andrews. He's right there with those guys.
Absolutely. He's got strength, speed, yak yardage. Mr. Yak. That's what I'm going to call him, Mr. Yak.
Speaking of strength, that leads us perfectly into number 2. A big, giant, strong man, Barrett Brooks, Jordan Mailata. Your thoughts?
6'8", 380 pounds of man. This guy's going to go out there and smash people. And he's no longer looked at as the guy that played rugby or the ukulele. He's now the guy that goes out there and protects Jalen Hurts' backside. He's willing to go out there and fight for his guys. He's a man. He's used to deboing people now. And he's finally got that attitude to go along with the size. He is definitely going to be in the Pro Bowl. It's not even if he's going to be there. He will be in the Pro Bowl because he's one of the most dominant left tackles in the league.
The talent of a Pro Bowler and the singing voice of an angel. All right, and topping the list, we're talking about Hassan Reddick. Dave, big pickup, big potential for Pro Bowl. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he hasn't been there already.
Yeah, it's very
honestly.
strange.
He's had back-to-back double-digit sack years. Not many people have had more sacks than him in recent memory. So we'll see how he fits in to this defense. There might be a little bit of growing pains, but I expect him to do what he does best and get after that. That 7 looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I like that on an edge rusher. I think he's going to be fun to watch, and I think he has that potential to really put up big numbers and get to the Pro Bowl.
I mean, he's in a big market now. The Cardinals won the big market. The Panthers won a big market. He's now going to be playing on Sunday a lot of big-time games. He'll get his name out there, and he's going to play up to his ability. So, yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah, and sometimes the recognition comes a little later than it should for some Pro Bowl guys. So, if they can, we've seen him now. He's got 23 and a half sacks in the last 2 years. If he does another year of, 12 sacks or so,
And let's be honest, if he plays well here, Eagles fans are quite vocal people.
We will definitely make sure he gets voted in.
They will give him the push.